A lot of you have an opinion on this, so let's chat about it. We were all told to mask up, and then it was okay to take them off, right? Now, a lot of people are upset and confused over the new CDC mask guidance. It calls for everyone to wear masks again indoors in areas where there are high levels of transmission. Here's how Dr. Fauci responded to some of the confusion on CNN.
Now, the level of virus in the nasopharynx of an infected person with Delta is 1,000 times of what it was with the Alpha, which means it really has the capability, and in fact, in the real world is doing it. It can transmit. So nothing changed about the science. It was the virus that changed.
But there is still a lot of pushback from people, including Texas Senator Ted Cruz, who called the new guidance, quote unquote, absurd, and says the CDC is too politicized. Here's exactly what he said on Fox News.
A year and a half ago, the CDC was one of the most respected scientific organizations in the world, and they allowed themselves to be politicized with Dr. Fauci at the helm of the politicization. And right now, their credibility is in tatters because they behave more like an arm of the DNC than an actual serious medical and scientific organization.
Meantime, major corporations, including Google, Facebook, Netflix, they are all requiring employees to get vaccinated before returning to in-person work. Before we talk about this, I just want to make it crystal clear in layman's terms, because I'm getting a lot of people still writing in from our audience. What is this mask mandate? Blah, blah, blah. If you are fully vaccinated, amongst fully vaccinated people, you're okay, according to the CDC. If you go out in public, you're indoors, you don't know who is vaccinated, who's not, you don't know their status. They're saying mask up, better safe than sorry. Tori, what do you make of all this? And especially it being politicized.
Right. I'm going to say something unpopular, which is fine, normal on this show. I still believe in a federal mandate because I want this to be normalized. And when I know this is very unpopular, and I also know it's not ever going to happen, but let me explain why when it comes to Facebook, Google, and Netflix, why that's important. They're mandating it for them. They're trying to normalize it for them. What I want to do, because I just heard from someone who's like, I actually want it mandated because I don't want to have to make up this decision. I want it mandated so that nobody has to make this so politicized anymore. It becomes, oh, polio, mumps, measles, diphtheria, and COVID. I want it like that. Now, a lot of people wrote me and said, if it was FDA approved, I would have done it. But it's not. It's emergency use approved. And I just want to let you know, I did the research. There is very little difference between the two. It comes down to a matter of months. And all those causes of mass deaths from vaccines, that's misinformation. So to me, the mandate's the answer. I know it's going to rub people the wrong way.
I'm going to push back on you, and you know how pro-vaccine I am, especially given with Eric.
Eric, right.
With a federal mandate, given that you're very pro-choice,
yes,
right? You believe in autonomy over your own body. What would you say to people who say, but Tori, you preach autonomy over one's body. You also preach, you preach to not have the government dictate what goes in your body. And you also preach, too, that you always say precedent, slippery slope. So let's fast forward in 12 years. If there's a federal mandate with this vaccine, don't you think that could be a slippery slope for the next administration to force you to make choices about your body?
Great question, and totally fair to ask. My body, my choice sounds like pro-choice, right? It sounds like that. The one difference is pregnancies aren't contagious. This is a public health emergency. That is not. There's your difference. The government has a mandate to support and keep us living. And if that is to mandate that kids get 5 shots before they go to kindergarten, which they do in public schools, then they should mandate that for us, because if we don't get to herd immunity, it's all or nothing. So we got nothing. So we've done nothing. We're back to square one.
Well, it seems like we're kind of sliding back to square one as it is, as we all had masks on approaching the bench, approaching the desk. And, you know, Tori, I'm going to push back on your mandate for another reason. You know, obviously, I'm on your side with that. I obviously got vaccinated. I'm fine with sharing that information. But, Tori, I think a mandate is what the people that are pushing anti-masks want. The idea that the government is actually now saying what they've been theorizing for the last year, that this government's trying to press down on you. I mean, that would be
how much more is going to backfire? Because we're never going to get to 80%. Really, I know there's medical exceptions if we do it this way.
It's going to divide our country so much.
How much more could it be divided, though? How much more? We're losing the fight.
There's people in the middle. There are. There's people in the middle that right after Eric, my brother-in-law, talks and say, I did not think COVID was real. Now I'm going to go talk to my doctor.
Right.
There are people in the ICU right now where their loved ones are watching their loved ones dying, saying, I am now going to go get a vaccine.
Right.
So by being extreme, I think you're going to push those people aside.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have great arguments. I'm just going to say, like Facebook, Google, those are the juggernauts, right? They almost are uncancelable. like the Howard Sterns of the world. They could do whatever they want. If you take a mom and pop type business and mandate vaccines, they're going to go under. They're not going to be able to work anymore. These big companies could do whatever they want. They almost own the government.
And let me just ask you this real quick. Don't you think Facebook, Google, Netflix are also telling us where the trends are going, right? Because that's what happens when they change. When they are making the trends. And if it's mandating because they want to protect their company, and I don't think that's extreme, although I get our audience might, I think that others would follow. I think it normalizes.
Yeah, and I was just going to say this really quickly, Jeff, to your point with the mom and pop shops. If you have 4 employees, if there's an outbreak, that's a bigger deal than if you have 4,000 and there's an outbreak, because that's the thing that could also take your mom and pop shop under, is if you only have a few employees and 2 get sick or 1 get sick and you got to shut down everything because you don't have any employees.
Good point. Okay, we got to get in this next beat. One of the side effects of the new COVID surge, some people are changing their tune on the virus and getting vaccinated, to what we were speaking about earlier, including one woman from Mississippi whose husband is hospitalized with COVID. Here's what she told CNN.
We have really tried to, after this, talk to as many of our friends and family as possible that they should get that. I never really realized how bad it would be, how bad this Delta variant would be. And I'm exhausted. I haven't slept in a month now. But I'm really worried.
Heartbreaking. Meantime, in Missouri, a doctor there is describing how some people are coming in disguise to get the vaccine. Take a look.
I work closely with our pharmacists who are leading our vaccine efforts through our organization. And one of them told me the other day that they've had several people come in to get vaccinated who have tried to sort of disguise their appearance and even went so far as to say, please, please, please don't let anybody know that I got this vaccine. I don't want my friends to know, but I don't want to get COVID. I want to get the vaccine.
That's because it has become politicized. And
right. Sorry, keep going.
I don't want this to be a political issue.
But it is.
I want people to be. But Tori, that's where we need to take control, at least of our narrative, in front of this audience. We need to say, stop listening to the Ted Cruzes, to the Anderson Coopers. Well, Anderson Cooper, he's in the media, fine. Talk to your doctor. Talk to your nurses. A really good friend, family friend of mine, posted this photo on Instagram. I want to read it because I don't know her political affiliation. I know that she works her tail off fighting COVID every day. This is what she posted in her caption. My N95 is officially back on today. We are seeing very, very ill, young, unvaccinated patients, 20s. Your healthcare workers are seriously burnt out, constantly working short-staffed. Make the right choice. So again, to those of you that can't medically get vaccinated, we're not talking about you.
Exactly.
We want to protect you.
Exactly.
But let's stop making this a political issue. It's really boiling my blood. And let's start thinking about people's lives. Go talk to your doctor. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to Tori. Don't listen to Anderson Cooper. Don't listen to Ted Cruz. Go talk to your doctor. Your family's lives matter. Pissed. Sorry.
I mean, I think at this point, and Jeff, I want to get your opinion, man. I think it's not even political. I think it's somebody's identity. It's how they identify to the world, and that's why they're going in disguise. Because if the people in their community see that they're getting vaccinated, that dismantles who they are and who they say they are.
Just really quick, that's why I think, and I understand what you're saying, but that all proves my point, that this has all become so politicized. They're in disguise. Normalize it by saying everyone who can has to get it. We move on from this discussion. I know I don't want to politicize it either. It is politicized. It is Ted Cruz. It is Anderson Cooper. So I want to do what's real. And what's real is people are going because they're ashamed. So make it a mandate. Make it something we don't talk about.
But conservatives don't believe, Tori, in a federal mandate. They don't believe.
Oh, I know that. I simply think that it should come from the government, even if it isn't from the conservatives.
I think that would make it worse.
I think it has to happen.
All right. Great conversation. Wow.